I'm not an artist because everything went really well. I'm not an artist because everybody loves me. I'm not an artist because my music charts. Like, I'm an artist because I am unrelenting and I just won't stop.
Family, it's your favorite queer radio personality, Anna DeShawn, here with another exclusive interview for you on the Queer News Podcast. I'm excited. I'm getting to talk to Jordan today. She came to fame with the Gossip Girl situation, but I think there's a lot more to to Jordan than just that moment. And so we're going to dig in today about her new album that's coming out, dropping September 4th, and that y'all need to get into. So Jordan, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yo, I appreciate you coming on. I think it's really dope, the opportunities and like the doors that opened up for you around Gossip Girls. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that experience absolutely changed my life. Like, sometimes I even am still processing like that happened and like the impact of it. And it was just so cool. I talk a lot about this transition to music, but really it's like a transition back to music because that's what I had been doing. And I was just in Toronto making the local circuit. Sometimes I performed in Pride in Ohio one time. That was cool. But for the most part,
Wait one second.
Ohio, Columbus, it's crazy. I took 2 buses to get there with my guitar. I was like, I'm gonna do it. But
okay.
Yeah, so I was like doing my little thing, but definitely in terms of visibility and like that global visibility, Gossip Girl completely just changed everything for me.
And I was doing my research. Okay, I got to be prepared in these situations. And I saw that you had to move in with 2 weeks. Like, you got the word and it was like 2 weeks turnaround. Like, my life is changing right now.
That felt fast. It might be more normal in a sense, like in terms of what actors go through. But my first project that I went on, I had time. I had a lot of time. There was time for me to set things up and square things away. And the first project that I did, I think I was only there for 3 months. Whereas Gossip Girl was this undefined potential of, we don't know how long you're going to be there. And I actually had to move, like not just sublet my place or not just keep my room. Like, I had to move. And all of that happened in, like about 2 weeks, which was just crazy. Cool.
It's wild. Life is crazy. The moments that change our lives happen in the blink of an eye often.
Yeah.
And it's like the saying, you got to stay ready so you don't got to get ready, or whatever that is.
I'm very about that. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to stay ready always. And I think it's interesting. So you said you're coming back to music because music was the first thing. So what was the dream? So growing up, what was the dream? Was it music?
Honestly, I feel like I've always been a very kind of aimless, but not in a bad way. I just was existing and I was doing things. It has become a more recent thing of being intentional. Specifically, I have an executive producer on this album, my friend Havaya Mighty, and she is like a very driven, passionate artist with a very clear intention about what she wants to do. And she's had just such a profound impact on the way that I interact with like my career in the arts and music specifically, where I'm like, oh, maybe I can be more intentional about this stuff. Whereas before I was just existing, and the way I exist is like through arts and through music. So it just happened. But now I'm in this position where I'm like, oh, like I could be really intentional about this. And that's really exciting. So yeah, even from like kid and whatever, like I was just there. I was just doing whatever. I didn't have that vision of, oh, I want to be this. I think when I was really small, I wanted to be like an archaeologist, or like I liked rocks. No, yeah.
You're far from liking rocks. And how you're...
I still like rocks though. I still like rocks.
Okay. You still like to get down with rocks? Okay. We all need hobbies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
we all need hobbies. I don't know if that would pay any bill, but I think it's a good hobby. I'm here for it. I got rocks all over the place. One that says dream, actually.
That's right.
As a reminder. So I'm here for it. I ain't mad at you about that. But I was reading also somewhere, and It defines you as an unrelenting artist.
I did that to myself, yeah.
You did that to yourself? Okay, all right. Tell me about that. What makes you an unrelenting artist?
Yeah, I feel like being in the arts, and I've been in the arts for a very long time. I've never really had any other, I've had like jobs like serving, but I've never had any career direction. Like I've always just been like, I'm doing this regardless. Like
Yeah.
I've lived that starving artist life, and it never occurred to me to do anything else. So I just feel like in my soul, like I like the idea of being an unrelenting artist. It doesn't matter about money or about how the world receives you per se, although those things are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like the idea that this is part of like my DNA, and I will be this no matter what.
That's hard. Where does this courage come from? Now I want to know about like how you grew up and who are your parents and who loved you. I think it takes a lot of courage to live in that way and to show up every day. I don't care if I'm broke. This is what I'm called to do. I know it's in my gut and I'm going to make it happen. Like, where does that come from?
I feel like it comes from the fear that exists in me, and then I come up with these kind of like phrases or reassurances to combat it. And it's like having that reminder, like I am an unrelenting artist. I'm not an artist because everything went really well. I'm not an artist because everybody loves me. I'm not an artist because my music charts. Like I'm an artist because I am unrelenting, and I just won't stop.
I love that. You got affirmations or something that you say to yourself every day? Oh, wait. I love a good affirmation. Come on, drop me like one or two.
I'm all into that.
I am too. All right. Share with me one or two of your top affirmations that continue to affirm who you are.
I am an unrelenting artist is a big one because it just goes up against all of the fears. You know what I mean? It really cuts them off at the knees, which I feel like is the point of affirmations. It's supposed to stand up against those fears so that they don't just steamroll you. But another one that I really like is that I am allowed to exist. I feel like that's something that could just be used in general. And I think I do use it in general, but it also applies to being an artist. It's so much of being an artist has been like whether or not people like you or you're popular or you get this or you get that. And I'm actually allowed to exist regardless. You know what I mean? And just knowing that in terms of like any identity that you might hold, like you are allowed to exist. You don't have to fit into a box. You don't have to change yourself. You can find the most authentic version of yourself and demand that you accept it and that you are allowed to exist. So that's a big one for me.
I love those. I am enough. I am worthy. You know, living at all these intersections of identities in a world, especially now that is so politicized here in the US, especially, where everything is not affirming, where the world will tell you something opposite of who you are. Those types of affirmations are so incredibly important to you feeling whole and you being able to show up in the world as your full self. Because when we do that, we get to make our magic out here in the world. And only you can do what you're doing. I'm always reminded about that as I see people moving throughout the world and doing what they're called to do. I'm like, I can't do that. I'm so glad you're doing that because I cannot do that. So I love that. I love that. All right, let's jump into the album because we are on E3 Radio. We are playing queer music. You are a queer artist. And being a queer artist, independent out here in the world, it is no easy thing. But then again, you're an unrelenting artist. So this is just like the path you have chosen to go down. This is the life I am living. So tell us about the new album. It's called Now You're Caught Up.
Now You're Caught Up. Yeah, so it just feels like about what was going on with me. It relates to what was happening with Gossip Girl and my life just completely changing. And then some really intense interpersonal, like love type stuff where I feel like this album, it is like a reflection on those times. It's Now You're Caught Up about what that was. And it's like, now you're caught up. I'm not just a Gossip Girl actor. And now you're caught up on what's going on in my life. And also the album, I was caught up. So it's like these multi-meanings. Like I was so incredibly caught up in what was happening, which is why I wrote an entire album about it. like I feel things very deeply because what I was responding to, it was like a relatively short-lived, it was like under a year of me being in it with this person, and really specifically a summer to fall thing, and it just exploded my world. And it is a catalyst. It's not to say that this album is just about that one person and that one experience. It was a catalyst for me to uncover a lot of stuff about myself, and that is something that I feel like I'm really on a journey with. I feel like it's really important. I want to like reflect, and I want to discover, and I want to dig into myself and figure out who I am, not what has been put onto me that I'm just like projecting.
Child, heartbreak will have you write a whole album, part 1, part 2.
That's right. That's right. Like, it doesn't have to be a whole thing. It doesn't have to be like a marriage or something. For me, it's like, you break my heart over the weekend, there's gonna be a song about it.
I'm telling you, people who fall in love with artists, I'll be like, okay, you do it if you want to. Okay, you're gonna be the you're gonna be the lead in the next. Hell yeah, you're gonna be the lead in the next album without even knowing it. But honestly, some of the best songs, right? Some of the best moments that we experience come out some of the hardest, toughest times. I learned like in my entrepreneurial journey, we want all of the mountaintop moments, but promise to goodness, it feels opposite any of those moments are some of the lowest moments. Also that I've experienced, that they seem to come hand in hand and not negating the low moments, right? The valleys, right? Respecting them and learning how to move through them while still
100%.
being present, right? To enjoy the mountain moment, and learning what it's like and to live in the in-between. Because there's so much work and journeying in the in-between of the mountains and the valleys that we should also be enjoying, even when it really sucks. So what's the track on the album that gets you most excited, that you like, I can't wait for people to hear this one right here. This one is the bop. This is it.
Honestly, there's a lot. I feel like each single song, because I wrote probably double what is on the album, and then really pared it down to the songs that I felt really represented the journey that I was going on and that were just the strongest in general. But there is a song, whenever I get asked this question, that kind of pops into my head, and it's a ballad, and it's this last song in the album, and it's like, it's the conclusion. Like, the order of the album is intentional, although people listen however you want, but I intentionally created an order to the album that kind of takes you on this journey. And that conclusion song is called I Don't Want to Lose You. And it's just, I love it. I love it so much. I remember writing it and producing it, the specific moments, like I will never forget. It's burned into my memory when that first came out of me. And yeah, I'm really excited for people to hear that and to see. I feel like it's going to be the people who really care, because it's a ballad and it's slow and it's, you know what I mean? So I feel like the people who really get me are going to really attach that song.
I can't wait to hear it and dig into it. Now, as a queer artist out here in the streets, and you singing to people who you love and who you're attracted to and who bring you the most joy, have you found opposition in the world, or is that exactly why you chose to be independent? You're like, I don't even feel like dealing with all the other stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I've become a very strong-willed person. I feel like earlier in my artist journey or career or whatever, I think I was a little bit more malleable, and now there's some really strong non-negotiables. It also just comes from the fact of I've been queer for so long. Like, you couldn't come to me and be like, oh, can you not? It's just like, I'm not there anymore. Whereas, yeah, probably before, if some big record exec was like, hey, it would be much better if you didn't, I might have been like, okay. But now it's just impossible. It's just truly impossible. It's like, I couldn't even entertain that. But I do being independent because I really like being like a director. Like, I like being self-directed. I like being in control and deciding things. The most recent single, I put out a remix to it, and this incredible, actually, the executive producer's sister is also an artist. She's like an incredible reggae-dancehall artist. And I just, in a week, decided that I wanted her on the remix. And then she wrote the verse, we recorded, and we shot the video the next week. with all of these other people involved and hands in the pot, I don't think we could have achieved that because I was also filming. I was in Atlanta back and forth filming, and everything needed to just be like fast. And I think that with being independent, you're able to move in that quickness that really honors like the truth of the art. Like it just felt so inspired. Like Omega, I don't know if I said her name, but Omega Mighty, she felt really inspired by the track. And yeah, just not having to wait behind red tape allowed us to really just have the most magical expression, and it was just great.
I love that. That is the beauty of being independent. You can be nimble. You can do whatever you want when you want to do it.
That's right.
I'm in control of my own destiny out here. I love that. I love that. And that single's out on YouTube, right?
Yes,
it's out on YouTube right now.
Please go check out that music video. It's incredible. Omega Mighty is also an amazing dancer, so she choreographed a little section for us to learn, and I did my bestest to try and do the dance. I am not necessarily in that form yet, but I love dancing and I think it's amazing. Yeah, it's called Scared to Get Close, and the remix is with Omega Mighty.
There you go, family. Go check it out. Jordan trying her 1-2 step, doing her thing out here
Yeah.
in the streets. I love that. I love that. And one thing I also find when I speak with people is that when they're doing what they're supposed to do, things are just in alignment. Like things just happen. It's not hard. It's not challenging. You were like, we talked, this happened, she wrote a verse, we got in the studio, we recorded a music video. It wasn't anything extra. It was supposed to happen exactly at that time. Yep. And I think timing has so much to do with the course of life and how we show up. So I think that's dope. And then just another reminder that things don't have to be hard, family. No. Don't think that they have to be hard.
And like you were saying about the valleys, I think that really embracing those valleys, because when you're supposed to be in the valley or you're supposed to be in your ebb state, trying to force flow, that's when I feel like things get so challenging. You're like, I'm trying to force this, make it happen. And maybe it's not supposed to happen right now. Maybe you're supposed to be resting right now.
Yes. I knew I was supposed to be resting the other day and I didn't. And you know what? I paid for that. Okay, Jordan, I paid for it.
That's right.
And I'm going to listen the next time.
I'm so sorry.
But that's how life is. But I totally agree. So tell me, what's a couple of lessons that you're taking away being an independent artist out here? Maybe something even that challenged you and you were like,
Yeah, I think timing. I actually had intended to put this album out like spring of 2023. And it just wasn't right. It wasn't the right timing. And I feel like I had to just open my fist. So you get trapped on an idea and then you're just like hanging on for dear life, getting dragged through the muck no matter what. I'm hanging on. It's go. Like maybe let go. And I even, that again, of being an independent artist, like my really dear friend, Sakina Garcia, we started a band and then released that music before I started rolling out my album. Like I just was like, it didn't feel right to do it at the time. And so I just did some other stuff.
And now you're back at it. Right. And I think that's the beautiful part also about being a creative is that we never are short of ideas. The opportunities will show up and your talent is going to do what your talent do. And I think that no one can stop that or deny that. The family, the key here is to go follow Jordan if you're not already, so that you know what she's
at the Jordan Alexander. You go follow me. I'll give you updates. I'm the only place you can get it.
Period. So that's what you need to go do. So go follow Jordan. Jordan, thank you for being out here and being out and being queer, being yourself, producing your music, and being like a real true example of what success can look like when you choose to just do what you're supposed to be doing out here in the world.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. So family, stay close. You already know. More to come. We are Queer News Done Right.
Woo.